Bugonia follows Teddy, a paranoid factory worker and part-time beekeeper who feels increasingly left behind in a fractured, chaotic world. Haunted by the trauma of his mother being left in a coma after a failed medical trial, and crushed by economic precarity and corporate dominance, Teddy becomes obsessed with the idea that something is fundamentally wrong with society. In his attempt to locate the source of this rot, he falls down an endless series of conspiracy rabbit holes, cycling through explanations that promise clarity but only deepen his isolation. Eventually, he settles on the belief that an alien race known as the Andromedans has secretly infiltrated Earth with the intention of wiping out humanity. Fixating on this theory gives Teddy, and his cousin Dawn, whom he pulls into the conspiracy, a renewed sense of purpose. Instead of passively enduring a world they feel powerless in, they now believe they are actively fighting back. This belief reaches its breaking point when Teddy becomes convinced that Michelle, the billionaire CEO of a pharmaceutical megacorporation, is herself an Andromedan. Michelle publicly presents herself as a compassionate, forward-thinking leader committed to improving the world, but the film quickly reveals this image as a thin facade masking a ruthless, self-serving core. Her company dominates the town Teddy lives in, controls the labor he depends on, and is responsible for the medical trial that destroyed his family. By kidnapping Michelle and holding her captive in his basement, Teddy believes he is finally reclaiming control over his life and, by extension, over the fate of the world. However, this dynamic immediately destabilizes when Michelle refuses to submit. Even imprisoned, she exerts authority, manipulation, and psychological dominance, forcing the audience to question who truly holds power and whether Teddy's rebellion is justice or simply another form of violence. The film's symbolism reinforces these tensions throughout. The concept of Bugonia, an ancient Greek belief that bees could be born from the carcasses of dead animals, becomes a central metaphor. Beekeeping, Teddy's hobby, reflects systems of creation and control in which a population is cultivated, managed, and ultimately disposable. Bees themselves symbolize tightly ordered societies that survive through collective labor but are vulnerable to collapse when small pressures accumulate. Teddy's references to colony collapse disorder mirror the world around him, where no single cause explains societal breakdown, but many compounding failures do. Aliens in Bugonia function less as science fiction creatures and more as representations of the ultra-wealthy, figures so detached from ordinary life that they appear literally inhuman. Hair becomes another symbol of class, power, and dominance, with Teddy's fixation on Michelle's hair reflecting his belief that her authority is both visible and transferable through control over her body. Physical spaces reinforce these ideas as well, with Michelle moving freely through vast, open environments while Teddy remains trapped in a cramped home in an even smaller basement, a space frozen in time since his mother's collapse. As the film moves toward its conclusion, it becomes clear that while Teddy's criticisms of the world are often accurate and emotionally resonant, his methods are deeply corrupted by a desire for control. He frames his actions as altruistic, claiming to act on behalf of humanity. Yet the film reveals that he has previously abducted and killed others he believed to be aliens. His pursuit of truth is inseparable from his willingness to dominate and destroy. In the final revelation, the film confirms that Teddy was, in fact, right. The Andromedans exist, Michelle is their queen, and humanity itself was engineered as a disposable creation, born from the remains of extinct life and judged to be a failure. Michelle ultimately decides to erase humanity entirely, allowing the cycle to begin again. This ending can feel brutally nihilistic, but the film leaves room for interpretation. Rather than suggesting that humanity deserves extinction, Bugonia frames destruction as a metaphor for radical transformation. Just as a bee colony can survive the loss of its queen, the film implies that humanity's only hope lies in dismantling the systems of domination, hierarchy, and control that mirror the very forces it fears. The tragedy of Bugonia is not that Teddy was wrong about the world, but that his certainty, obsession, and violence make him indistinguishable from the powers he believes he is fighting.